Peace and blessing, family. This is your boy Jarrell. It is Monday, the 8th of January 2018. Bright and early. It's nice and cold. I'm at my backyard. Snow. A lot of snow. It's beautiful out here. Quiet, picturesque. And you know what? Now you're starting to see the media talk about this big old flu pandemic. Every year there's a flu pandemic. You see all these pie charts and schematics on the screen, but nobody's taking into consideration that it's environmental, right? We all know that, you know, a lot of times it comes from, if you got children, you know, they're not washing their hands, they're coughing, and germs spread. No brainer, right? See, they're trying to cut this feed. It's alright though. It's for the intended. But it's cold out here. But I want to show you something. Alright? Now look up at the sky. See how your atmosphere is that way? You see these little... See that? See that right there, right? You see these lines? You see these lines all the time, right? You say, well, they come from the plains, right? And they do. But there's a difference. One's called a contrail. That's pretty much the exhaust from the heat off of the fuselage or the engine of the aircraft. And the other comes from off the aircraft because of what's being sprayed out of it. Some of us know that as cloud seeding, to manipulate the cloud and the environment, to cause areas where maybe there's not enough precipitation, you know, cause rain, manipulate it. And then there's areas where get plenty of rain and it looks like tic-tac-toe in your sky. Never took that in consideration. Why? Well, do the research and you'll be surprised how many people are getting sick. Yeah, think about it. All of a sudden, nobody's getting sick. Now, it's like outbreak, like the movie Outbreak, every year. Now, not to sound cliche or like it's a conspiracy, because it's not. The two demographics that are at most risk will always be the young and the old. Why? You're talking about your immune system and the geography of your health. You say, well, how can you say that, Joe? You sitting up here smoking a cigarette. Well, what you don't realize is it is approximately 20 degrees now. I am layered. I got something on my head. I don't have anything on my hands right now. But I'm about to go back in my garage in a second and open up the other side so the light will come in. But it is very important, if you're not doing it now, that you start taking better care of you. Did you hear me? Yes, I know this may sound hypocritical because you're saying, well, how are you going to say be healthy and you smoking? I know you're thinking that. And I also know that you're going to reap what I sow. There's Tyson. He's just finished eating his breakfast. He's probably wondering, What are you doing? There he is. Come here. Come here. Yes, for those people who've been riding with me, he's gotten big. He's gotten big. Yeah, well, that's my little fur baby. That's my fur baby right there. Keeps me in check. But last night, actually, I think it was the night before last, I had did a live stream, and you know, it's the first time I was really checking it out. And soon, I think maybe it was 30 minutes to an hour, something prolific was put in my spirit, and I didn't want to share it because I thought it was too soon. But it is about being humble. It is about being able to listen to your discernment, because God gonna use you, like it or not. I know there's some people that say, look here, it's too early in the morning to talk about God, Gerald. No, but I'm not gonna beat you in the head with it. Just know that if you're even hearing this, it's meant for you to hear, because you woke up. Some of y'all are emotionally awaking. Some of you are physically awaking. Some are monetarily waking up. And you're going to make 2018 a year that the needed changes, maybe because you were afraid, maybe there was some conflict, or maybe the echoed validations of things that you knew for such a long time. You're saying enough's enough. It's time that I make those changes. And I commend you on that. Now, what I want to share with you is this. But I need 15 seconds. I'm going to put this phone down. I'm going to put Tyson in his kennel so he can warm up. And I'll be right back. So hold on. One sec. Come on. All right, thank you. You said let there be light, and there is. Now, got my coffee. You know I do, but one thought that came across my mind the other night was, why is it that mirrors are not two-sided? Why do they not make mirrors two-sided? And I don't know why that came to me, as crazy as it sounds, but something else prolific came from it. And the reason why mirrors are made one-sided is to show you what that is being gazed upon is made perfect. It is also a reminder that the person in the mirror is the person that you should be investing in so much, unconditionally. If it wasn't, then actually what you would see will be what's outside your door, just like that window. Let that sink in. So your reflection, everything that is being reflected, is a reflection of what's found inside you. So if you don't like what you see, maybe possibly it's because you're afraid to invest, you're afraid to embrace, or you're afraid to claim your truth. You know, countless times I would use the term, I would always say, speak your truth, speak your truth, speak your truth. And I think it's kind of funny though, because now everybody uses that term. But that's okay. That just makes me know, that lets me know that words have power. They always have. Because words carry a sound. A sound is frequency. Just like your spirit. That is why there are two frequencies the body gives off. Love, fear. And you got to make a determination on which one that you want to embrace. And when you wholeheartedly can answer that, you'll also have clarity on why your reality is the way it is. Who am I talking to? Now, yeah, we can turn around and say, well, hey, it's this person and that person, and I do this because of that, and that is the byproduct of why I think or act the way I do. But at the end of the day, who are you fooling? Whose approval are you seeking? Or better yet, where you running to? So let's go back to that mirror. We buy mirrors all the time. You can even go to the dollar store and get a mirror. But if you're not willing to claim what is being shown, you ain't living your life. You're allowing someone to tell your story, and it's reactionary. You can't be proactive that way. And really, when you think about it, that is the epitome of living a lie. So maybe that's the reason why so many people have a condescending outlook on life, or they think that it's easier to just go with the flow than be yourself. I really believe that this year, 2018, is going to be the year that the most powerful statement that a person can possess or demonstrate is silence. Because when you're silent, there's no speculation. It will automatically cause someone to pause. It may even spark bewilderment. But guess what? You don't need anybody's permission, to change. Stop turning around. Wait. Do you realize how many people actually live their life for the approval of other people? But yet when your life is over with, it matters not. But yet we won't be honest with ourselves and allow ourselves to be vulnerable. But we get upset when it's not accepted. How contradictory is that? Now we have allowed people to be strategic, manipulative by using monetary influence to infect the way you think, critically think. Why? Why is it so uncomfortable to be yourself? And let's go back to that mirror. Did you know, on a monetary perspective, if people just opted to be themselves, 50% of what is deemed as okay, here's a different approach. Do you realize if people took just 10% effort just to focus on them, you know how much money you save? Because I know I'll get somebody's attention when I'm talking dollars and cents. You realize that? And this brings me back to that mirror. A lot of people won't admit or can't see or don't want to choose to embrace their uniqueness. But yet you still have not taken into consideration that if God wanted you to be like them, He would have made you look like them. And it took me a long time to understand this one perspective. Kings, listen up. And I say this loosely. You look at your companion. Hopefully it'll be your wife or the significant other that's in your life right now. And keep in mind, you have to be honest with yourself. You already know if you're going to marry that person. You already know. So if you don't have the intentions on changing her last name, you need to get out of her way by getting out of yours and focusing on yourself. That's for somebody. Because right now somebody's ransoming their youth, thinking, well, you know what? I'm the flavor of the month. But you'll come to realize you might be the flavor of the month, but you ain't the flavor of the season. And not everybody's supposed to taste from you. And what will end up happening is you'll go back in your mind and you'll think about all those conquests and you realize they were all just wastes of time because you couldn't build with them. But here's the sad thing. They didn't even have the integrity to tell you the truth, that they couldn't build with themselves because they still yet don't know who they are. Which brings me back to the mirror. Every house, every building, even in your vehicles, you'll find a mirror, right? That mirror serves two purposes. One, to give you insight to see what you need to see, but also validate you exist. It is also a reference point of where you are at that moment. But here's the funny thing. If we had more focus on our self-value, on what makes us unique, you also will have a better financial standing too. Because here's something that you might not know, King, and maybe this might be something that she won't tell you. And this is not a jab. This is just the life this is the world we live in. Most women, not all, will not admit to you how vulnerable but fragile she is. So she spends a great deal of her life trying to find the sanctity and the security amongst like-minded people, instead of seeing her uniqueness and her beauty by way of her intellect, that brain, she gets on this emotional Ferris wheel of, I think I need to be just like them. I'll do one better. And I don't want to give credit due, but I gotta at least note it. Do you realize how many people that in this generation, we can go back at least 20 years, that emulate what Kim Kardashian West looks like? If she had just one penny off of her likeness, her vanity, and even at sometimes her insecurity, she wouldn't have to work. She could just sit back and yield the royalties from her likeness. So if you think about it, if she wanted to be a shrewd businesswoman, she could hit off people with copyright infringement, because every time you turn around, there's another likeness of her out there. It's no different than being a living, breathing Barbie doll. Everybody wants to be what they perceive. But if you even look at the image of Barbie, did the research, she got her start in unsavory ways either. A lot of people don't know that. That's why maybe Barbie never had a job. She was always catered to. But the one thing you never saw with the Barbie doll, you never saw focus on her brain. You always saw focus on her beauty. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They're playing grown dress up. But yet, at what cost? And what I mean by that is, you're allowing people to have access to you that should not earn the right to hear you breathe, that will never have your best interest, but gladly distract you from it. Oh, sure, they'll tell you what you want to hear, but when it comes down to show and prove, they're never there. Who am I talking to? Meanwhile, to leave you picking up the pieces. Meanwhile, to not take accountability, to only bottle it up, compartmentalize it, and try to seek another approach. Well, if I can't beat them, I'll join them. They do it all the time, but they ain't you. They can't feel your pain. They will never understand your struggle. Why? Because if you look in the mirror, the person that matters most is the person looking back. So it made me think, when I thought about that metaphor of a mirror, and how powerful it is, because until you're willing to undeniably put your focus on that reflection. And here's the thing about it. You know who's also looking back in that reflection? That little girl. That scared little girl. Might be that little girl that still to this day got daddy issues, but will not connect the dots on why her relationships will fail. And they will continue to fail until you decide to make your priority on the things that matter most. Or that little boy that didn't have the toolage or the guidance to manhood. Come on now. Think about it. 50% of the people that know and have don't want you to know. They want you to go aimlessly through life, trying to figure it out, hoping you won't, hoping you will get scared, hoping you will stay stuck. Why? Because they're going to benefit off your impulsiveness. And as long as you choose not to go within yourself, they win. As long as you turn around and choose to focus on something that has no value, like that argument you had yesterday. Yeah, who am I talking to? You fussing over something that you won't even remember next week. You don't believe me? Think about all the other arguments you had. You don't even remember what they was for. But you do feel the damage today now, don't you? You do understand you're doing a disservice to yourself every time you do that, right? And lastly, if you've got a family, now more than ever, it's your responsibility to reinvest in them. Even if that means love them from afar. There are some people, family, come on now, I'm talking to somebody. Your blood, it runs thick. But if they needed you, you would give a helping hand to a stranger before your own blood. What's wrong with that picture? You do understand a divided house cannot stand, right? Who am I talking to? So, this goes back to relationships again. You can't expect to have a fruitful relationship if you don't have a fruitful relationship with yourself. But to have that relationship, you got to be honest with yourself and stop running. Stop trying. Listen, you can't expect your futures to be bright if you refuse to connect to your spirit. You do understand that, right? We teach people how we wish to be treated. No, it's not by how we interact through a sexual manner. Because yes, there's plenty of people that know their sexual prowess. Oh yes. We laugh about it and say, well, you know, he treats me like garbage, but he makes me feel so good. But guess what? He never cared about you from the first hello. But she looks good, girl. She got that shape. But guess what? If you get sick, she gonna move on to the next one. I'm not throwing shade. I'm giving light. Every pretty face doesn't come with a good ending. We already know that. But let's keep this in mind. It is about mind, body, and spirit. That is the trifecta. Always have, always will be. So if your mind's not right, you know your body ain't. And if your body ain't, guess what? Indirectly, everything that is reflected to you or connected to you, I guarantee you'll see some issues and some disparities too. Only you know that. I'm not hating, I'm showing love. Because some are going to think that if they take the mindset that they had in 2012 and flip it and make it the new you in 2018 and it's going to work out, let me tell you something. There's a dead end waiting for you. And that block is not going to move until you decide to be still and assess it. But you got to acknowledge what's your challenge. Now, don't you? How are you going to come to a job that you say you hate, but you're there because of the paycheck? Maybe you've outgrown it. Maybe it's time for you to go back to school. Maybe it's time for you to be honest with yourself and say, I deserve better. How many of y'all deserve to be better? How many? Come on now. Tell the truth. Maybe this is the year you're going to say, well, you know what? Really, I had an envious spirit because I see all these females, you know, they got the flawless skin. Yeah, okay, of course it's flawless because they paint it on. But little do you know, the most beautiful skin ever is with nothing on it. Who am I talking to? Shouldn't your man tell you that? If that's your man, he loves you with the crust in your eyes and that bad breath. But if he's only walking with you because you're the show pony, he ain't giving you his last name. He just robbing you of your essence. Now, Right now, I want to show y'all something. So you can't say that you ain't see it. Now look up here. You see that? See those lines? See it, right? See that? Big old X. See all that stuff? See the moon? That makes your environment. But what they ain't gonna tell you is this. What must go up always comes down. And whatever it hits, eventually it's gonna find its way to your table. So I'm saying this now more than ever. It's not about being organic. Because I know somebody say, oh, you on this vegan tip. No. You have to be responsible for your health. And that's the reason why some of y'all don't even realize y'all anemic too. How's your iron levels these days? What about your zinc, your magnesium? You drinking enough water? You getting enough rest? If you just spend 50% of your time just focusing on the things that you don't focus on, I'm telling you, you'll have a new outlook, a different mindset, and your body will be built to last. But that's what's getting people sick. And you're going to hear more and more of that. Because keep in mind, they got to make sure that you spend your money getting that over the counter like a temporary Band-Aid. But if you make sure that you are doing what you need to do, you ain't going to get sick. Those mystery joint pains, those migraines creeping up the back of your neck, you don't understand what's going on, you go to the hospital, oh, you got the flu-like symptoms. You better do your research. But nonetheless, for you that are starting your week, please be safe. There are people not going to be responsible out here in this snow, packed ice. And you have those people directly and indirectly that want to see you the same way they saw you last. And that's safe because you're blessed. Now, you can't say that you started your day off bad because you're priceless. And maybe you'll finally admit to yourself you need to work on your communication skills too. Why are you waking up angry? You know that's the no-no for being in relationships. You never go to bed angry. And you don't wake up that way because that causes stress. Cortisol for some of y'all. You're like, I didn't put on all this weight. You stressing too, ain't you? And when you stress, what do? You spend your money or you emotionally eat. You better love yourself more because you're worth it. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your work. And it's cold, y'all. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Be blessed.